Hi, my name is Christina, and I am currently a second year MPH epidemiology student at the University of Arizona. I conducted my internship with the USA National Phenology Network this summer from May 23rd to August 13th of 2021. My internship was the USA National Phenology Network. For those who don't know, phenology is the study of the cyclical and seasonal patterns that occur in nature, such as the opening of flowers, or when to expect higher levels of pollen, the seasonal impact of pests, such as mosquito populations, how they diminish in the winter and flourish in the summer. The phenology network uses past data such as climate, rainfall, and vector plant measurements in order to predict future trends. This can also be used to see if there's certain vector species that are adapting to more extreme weather conditions and be used to predict future migration. The Phenology Network has many projects, most notably Nature's Notebook, where school groups and other people involved in different nature projects can submit nature data, which can be stored for historical and prediction uses. My role at the internship was to assess the results from a stakeholder needs assessment that had been created by the combination of work from a PhD student and an MPH student the semester before me. This needs assessment was used to assess the needs or help guide the creation of a mosquito vector model in order to predict mosquito activity. And they wanted to get an idea of what would be the most useful time scale, such as predicting the summer or predicting each month in advance. It was sent out to a multitude of government agencies, NGOs, and universities, most people who just worked with mosquito data or mosquito vectors in some capacity. The population served would be anyone who lives in that area that may benefit from having a mosquito prediction model, because it can be used to guide mitigation efforts and funding. Since these questions are free response, it kind of took a little bit to go over kind of similar responses. We sort of treated it as almost like a check all response. So if the responses were very similar, but maybe they had multiple, then we might count someone's answer multiple times for different options. Yeah, so we use that to kind of get an idea of what would be most helpful for the largest numbers of stakeholders. After that, stakeholders were divided into whether they worked more with vector agents or control, or different studies that involved vectors, or whether they worked more with the actual vector diseases, just like disease control and prevention. So those who worked for the state environment offices, those would work more with vectors, and those who worked in public health departments, those would be working with vector diseases. So then the next task I conducted during my internship was to email all the responsive stakeholders and request that they send in their mosquito collection data from the last 5 years in order to help with this model. And then the data will go into helping to create future predictions. We found that those who worked with vector diseases are more likely to want to have predictions for temporal changes. That would be changes such as mosquito species migration, changes in mosquito species confidence, which is the mosquito's ability to adapt to pesticides or repellents, and then also high-low trends for mosquito populations, and also predictions for summer season, which might have implications for spraying. Those who worked with vector diseases preferred predictions for high mosquito activity and also duration. So maybe trying to get an idea of how many mosquito diseases to expect. Most of them wanted predictions 1 month in advance. And then both of them wanted a prediction for the start of the season, and then also the peak of the season, like when during summer we would expect the largest amount of mosquitoes, overall mosquito abundance, and all of them said that they would use this model to predict funding. So overall, we had just 26 stakeholders responding to the survey. So my recommendation was that even during my internship, we reached out to more people, but just to continue getting more stakeholders involved, so that even more opinions are heard and that we can make a model that would be most useful for people. We also had a week-long working group meeting where we sort of talked about all the logistics of a model and the feasibility of different aspects of the model. And yeah, I think it would be great to have maybe not a whole week-long meeting, but still like a more interactive meeting with stakeholders so that they have a little bit more engagement in the project and also so they're kind of get inputs via their expertise. And so the model would be most useful for them. So my main takeaway is that for different fields, there are different desired results from the mosquito model. And so we'll definitely need to take this into account since we are working with multiple stakeholders. But since we're still hearing back from many stakeholders, there's definitely still possibilities that more suggestions might be created and that sort of the what's popular might shift a little bit more in terms of requests for the mosquito model. And yeah, I would like to thank everyone at the USA National Phenology Network for being really nice and sharing a lot of information on mosquitoes and vector diseases, especially my preceptor, Erin Posthumus, and as well as the Western Region Public Health Training Center. Thank you.